Good afternoon, everyone. I'm having a discussion today with two Ayurvedic doctors, Dr. Satish and Dr. Manjula. And I would like to go into some of the questions that we might have about Ayurveda and how it can be implemented for people when they visit that. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about Ayurveda, and I would like to shed more light, and no one better than my two good friends from Shraya's retreat to answer my questions. We have had these discussions sometimes at Shraya's when I was having my retreat, my India retreat. And I wanted today, Dr. Satish and Dr. Manjula, thank you very much for coming. I wanted today to just have these discussions out loud instead of having them behind closed doors. I thought interesting things come up usually, and sometimes we argue even in these conversations. But sometimes I feel like the Ayurvedic approach is going further from mainstream medicine than it was in the past. So I know it is much older and it is an ancient method of healing, but how is it that we have created such a big gap between the way modern medicine today looks at some diseases and between the ancient Ayurvedic method? Do you feel that gap, or is this just something external? Either of you can answer this.
So definitely there was a big gap, and over a period of time, I feel in all the department, including whether it is a nutrition department or modern medicine, there is a gap is definitely it is reducing. Initially what was the the understanding about dietary aspect, and what was the initial understanding about the certain food consumption and way of consumption. Now it is getting changed. For example, for a few years back, down, the divided meal system was there. Now over a period of time, now we are heading towards the kind of intermittent fasting. How it is going to help, how the metabolism is going to change. Similarly, on each food article, understanding is also getting changed. So it is really good. Then everyone can be on the same page, and everyone can easily work for the betterment of the life of the individual. So definitely there was a gap, and I think that it is reducing slowly.
So do you
This is what I...
Yeah, sorry, continue. I thought you finished.
No, this is what my understanding, how in the present scenario. I'm more of a very these aspects from the more of a practical experience and myself experience with the conversing with the people, conversing with the medical team, conversation with the patients. So it is not like any research article or anything. It is about my observation with my profession.
Yes, yes. So then the natural next question that comes is, do you view Ayurvedic medicine as the nutrition side of Ayurveda, or do you see it as also the herbal and massage? And maybe if one of you can explain what you see Ayurvedic medicine as, like what is the main approach of Ayurvedic medicine, so that we can maybe understand it a bit better. Because when you say Ayurveda, what comes to my mind is not nutrition. What comes to my mind is people being laid down and massaged, and specific herbal concoctions used for them. Is this not accurate? How do you see it? Or either of you, how do you see it?
Yeah, see, according to me, always I keep quoting as the Ayurveda basic rule itself. The Ayurveda is always preaches the who is already healthy maintain their health, means the maintaining the health of a healthy individual is the first thing. Second thing is the Atrasya Prashapana Vikara, means treat the diseased person. This is the first shloka itself in Ayurveda starts with that. Protect the health of healthy individual, then treat the unhealthy individual. So here Ayurveda is not pertaining to only the nutrition, or it is not about massage, it is not just about using the concoctions or anything. It is a complete medical science where we can treat the acute illness, we can treat chronic disorders, We can treat, even we can, maintain the health of the person as a prevention model. Also, we can do the many treatments. So for that, the nutrition or the food and privileges or nutrition, what you say, or the whatever you say about diet is a very, very important step. The exercise is the important step. Then medicine is the important step. So to treat anything without these three things, there will be a big gap. So everything has to go hand by hand. Because the medication, for the appropriate medicine action, the food is very important. Without the appropriate food, the medicines won't be acting properly, or whatever we say, like bioavailability, all these things will be affecting. So that is what we study in modern, like, drug to food interaction, drug to the drug interaction. So that way, I look into the Ayurveda as a complete medical science in treating every disorder. But definitely there are limitations in treating certain diseases, that I 100% agree. As any science have it, even certain limitations also we have. And more than anything, it is also the person to person, the Ayurveda approaches will vary. That is how there will be a different, variations may come. But definitely, as the book itself preaches on their first page, it is a complete medical science. It is not about the massage, or it is not about the nutrition.
Okay. Yes, I like that. I was curious. I remember Dr. Manjula, when we were at the retreat, when you have a consultation with somebody, you first take what looks like their pulse. It looks like you're taking their pulse. And then from that, you base a lot of your program on what you discover from that. So when the girls were going through that, they said, oh, from my heart rate, she picked up X, Y, and Z. Can you explain to me what it is that you're looking for? Because it looks like you're not exactly holding the area exactly where the pulse is. And I'm always curious what it is that you pick up, and how people differ in that. Like, what comes across in different people? Is it, I mean, you tell me, what are you measuring at that point? You're muted. I can't hear you.
So what happens in our Ayurveda, the diagnostic method is by 3 ways, like questioning, and by checking the 8 kinds of approach, that is pulse, tongue examination, eye examination. There are 5 more, like examining the fecal matter, the urine, all those comes. But from all these 8 modes of examination, diagnostic methodologies to arrive at the basic body type of a person, and the deviation from that due to the changed diet and lifestyle. This can be understood by these methodologies. So one of such methodology is Nadi Pariksha, which we call as pulse diagnosis. So when a Ayurvedic Vaidya or physician holds your pulse, he or she checks for this balance as well as deviation from the balance in terms of Vata, Pitta, Kapha. So this Vata, Pitta, Kapha in turn are the combinations of the 5 elements. As we all know, the whole world is made up of 5 elements, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, we read that. This is supported by a particular way of questioning. In the way of your way of eating, your daily routine, how a person is born and brought up, which area, the digestive capacity, the physical activities, all these are in question and answer or conversational mode, which is cross-checked with the help of this pulse diagnosis. So for an Ayurveda physician, pulse reading is like a mirror of the body. Seeing a person's tongue is like seeing your digestive system. To make it a little simpler, So that these are the two major diagnostic criteria, because in say 5,000 plus years back, we did not have the routine tests like blood routine, scans, and X-rays, all those things. So the Ayurveda physicians were depending on such kind of examination methodologies. So this is what we do. So that gives you an idea what kind of diet suits a person, what kind of lifestyle suits a person, what kind of massage, what a kind of internal herbal combination suits a person. So this is how we do.
But so let's say if you, I mean, I also encourage the viewers to look more into the categories of body types that you have in Ayurveda. So you said you have 3 body types, the Kapha, Pitta, Vata.
Yeah.
So roughly speaking, the Kapha is more water element.
Earth and water element.
Earth and water. Okay, combination.
Earth and water. Yeah.
And the Pitta
is fire and water. Vata is air and space.
Okay, okay. So based on that, you categorize the people. I'm curious now, when you go into the heart rate, what does a Vata heart rate feel like to you or sound like to you? You know, is like a Pitta, if they have more fire, is it a faster heart rate or not? Because you can see some quite mellow people with low heart rate, but they are Pitta. So how that I've never understood. I've always been.
Yeah. So when we touch the pulse at that place, we actually don't take into consideration the heart rate.
Okay.
Yeah. We see for the way how it flows.
The blood.
Yeah, yeah. It is not about the counting the pulse or knowing what is the heart rate. It is how the pulse or the pulse below your fingers, how do it flow? Whether it flows like a swan, whether it jumps like a frog, or like a snake, or like a wave. So there are certain similes given when it jumps like a frog, like Vata, like swan, in that way. So this is, more to the nature. You observe the nature, you observe the body, how it behaves, or observe the pulse, how it behaves. So you take from the nature, you take from the movements which happen in the nature, then you compare the same inside your body, because Vata, Pitta, Kapha, basically they are from 5 elements. As I was saying, space, air, fire, water, earth. So you have to go back to nature, how the water flows, how the fire burns. Now the same is brought to your body, because body is again made up of all these 5. In combination of 2 twos, they give you 3. That is Vata, Pitta, Kapha, when it comes to their functional modalities.
Yes. But
so we actually don't count the heart rate.
Okay. So if and either of you can answer this. So if I am checking the flow of the blood, how it is, how would you know by checking the blood if my flow acts like Pitta, whether I am Pitta by nature or whether I'm having an imbalance and being more Pitta because of my imbalance?
There comes the questioning.
Okay. So you complete that knowledge by asking the person. Okay.
Yeah, say a person is say 26 years old. So we take into consideration the whole 26 years of life, from the day he or she remembers till the date. Then we cross-check whatever we have read. That is one way of understanding. Second way of understanding, as you go into pulse reading, you come to know what is deviated from your balanced nature. You don't need much of questioning. Is some questioning with more deep understanding.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes more sense now. Okay, Dr. Satish, I'm curious because when we had a conversation in India, when I was in India, we were talking a lot about diabetes. So I happen to come from an area in the Arab region in general, but especially the Gulf countries. Diabetes is a very prevalent disease at the moment. What is the main Ayurvedic pillar when it comes to addressing diabetes? I assume you've had have you had success with diabetes? Time frame, and what do you look at mostly with diabetics? How would you approach that?
See, in Ayurveda, there is not only the diabetes, the pre-diabetic stage is also very well explained. Even in our practice, we tend to see there are many people who come in the pre-diabetic stage, but we can't tell them like, you are pre-diabetic stage, because if you take their HbA1c, which will be below the normalcy, like, the below 5.6 and all those things. But unfortunately, I don't know what word to use. We are tend to go with only numbers. Nobody gives importance to the symptoms. Many diabetic, completely the well-developed diabetic people, if I try to take the symptomology, they won't even say, I don't have an issue, I don't have an issue. So that is when even why I'm using this word, these kind of sentences, then it becomes to differentiate what Dr. Manjula was explaining till now, the Vata, Pitta, Kapha, how to differentiate and all those things. Well, it is also more of a, I need to take a symptomology into consideration to differentiate whether it is a Vata predominant, a Pitta predominant, Kapha predominant. These are the things I need to know from the person who is suffering. So now coming, yes, till the date, many people pre-diabetic stages, they come with a complex metabolic syndrome. And in Ayurveda, yes, there is a very well explained about diabetes and all those things. The way of approach is very, very different in Ayurveda. So, but when it comes to a treatment part, it is very clearly said. Just on the humorous aspect, how Acharya says, I'll tell you. So he says, if the person is not in a position to spend money on medication, he should walk. Means you should not even count he should go for a long walk, and he should eat very rough grain floors. In a rough wage he should eat, and he should walk. Then automatically his diabetic comes under control. He says, yes, if the person is in a position to spend money on his health, then he can take the medicine also. It was a kind of a simile. But what Acharya says, diabetic, first he says, lifestyle, like, the exercise and food is very, very important. Then only one should go for a medicine. At the same time, he also very emphasizes on taking detoxification treatment. Because the diabetes when we synthesize it, means when we differential diagnose, at the stage of differential diagnosis of diabetes, it is very clearly said it is non-curable. Means it is asadharoga. It is only, it can be, the management can be done. So there, it is not, we should also concentrate on not only treating diabetes, and at the same time we need to rejuvenate the body, because it is the Vata predominant disease. Only if we concentrate on treating diabetes, if they are getting emaciated, means not just physically, their cellular structure starting to get emaciated in the body, they have complications, diabetic complications. So when we do the diabetic treatment, same time we need to rejuvenate. That is what Acharya very, very clearly states. Before the diabetes, there are more than 20 different types of pre-diabetic stages, which is explained in Ayurveda.
Yeah. So if you say walk, do you notice that most diabetics or pre-diabetics have a weight problem, or you're saying even if somebody doesn't have a weight problem, they should walk?
Again, here there are two varieties of mainly diabetic people in according to Ayurveda. One is Krishnapramehi, means who is a really emaciated and very thin-built diabetic person, and the stout or the obese diabetic person. So both the treatment principles are very, very different in Ayurveda.
Okay.
So for the person who is obese, person who is obese and diabetes, his treatment principles like in the manner of like bulk reducing treatment, where we need to give the food and all those things, very less calorie diet, then more of a exercise, then his choice of drugs are very different. Whereas a person who is emaciated with the uncontrolled diabetes, the same principle I applied literally in my practice, and I got a fair amount of success rate in treating this in treating diabetes. That is the reason I can tell you that way. The person who is really emaciated, who you can see is really kind of malnourished and blood sugars are not coming under control. His treatment principle, it is like again low calorie diet doesn't work at all. According to Ayurveda, he is under the emaciation in the sense his organ efficacy is getting poorer and poorer. So we need to, the choice of drugs and choice of food will be different, where we need to give the certain food which doesn't make blood sugars to go up, but at the same time which helps the body to, body cells to get promoted to grow. Like as a beautiful example in Ayurveda is barley. Barley doesn't make the person to put on weight, but at the same time it helps in cellular health and cell for the cell
Barley?
growth. It helps.
Barley, they add the
Barley.
grain? Okay.
Yeah, barley.
So
like that, there are many examples in Ayurveda which is explained. Katu Kaustika. Katu Kaustika means which nourishes the body, but without gaining the much of a weight. So, but whereas in the obesity person is entirely different, where you can give very, very low calorie diet, like do all the treatment where he lose his weight. Even it is very clearly stated in Ayurveda, if person is obese and he is diabetic, yes, definitely he need to lose his weight.
So
that way it is treatment principles are. Yeah, sorry, please.
No. So, but because there's a difference in diabetes type 1 and type 2, is there a preference in Ayurveda? Not a preference. Is there a bigger success rate, let's say, in Ayurveda with one or the other?
See, the diabetic, the type 1 diabetic, when it comes to the juvenile diabetic and all those things, practically we are managing. But in my practice, I am not able to taper down the 100% insulin type 1, but we are able to successfully reduce the insulin level to almost like a placebo effect. Like, the people who came with the 50 and 100 insulin units per day, now they are taking 1 or 2 units. Only 1 or 2 units, like, on the very basic up to 5 units of insulin they are taking, and whatever they had, lot of other impact of the type 1 diabetes, what we call it as a diabetic sequelae, all those things are nullified. Their quality of life has improved, all those things. But not in a we are not stop the insulin in any people in type 1. I'm talking about only purely type 1.
Yes.
Okay. So even there are a few incidents were there where initially it was diagnosed as a type 1. When we initiated treatment, we were able to taper down insulin 100%. But lately we came to know which was misdiagnosed as a type 1 initially, then which was actually type 2 diabetes. Now that is another thing surfacing up. Many people who is being treating as a type 1, eventually they are being called as a type 2 after some time.
So is there a specific, like, because if you say that diabetes has a link, it's like a Vata imbalance. That's what you said, right? If I understood correctly. It has to do with the Vata.
Yeah, it is the very provoked state of the kapha is also, the kapha also is there in a morbid state, but Vata is in a very, very higher predominant morbid state in the Madhumeh.
Diabetes.
Yeah.
So is there a bigger rate of diabetes in specific body types? Like, because it has to do, for example, diabetes type 2, because it has to do more with it has a tendency to have a weight issue linked to it. Do you feel that more kapha people would get diabetes type 2?
Yes. That way, if I want to analyze it, it is on the analytical part. It is not like in the directly book, we don't have a direct reference. Okay, this body type is more they are prone to, because when this prakriti concept comes. So, for example, how person get diabetes, there is a very beautiful description. Who is always lazy, who will keep frequent eater, who is not even means again the certain food category which is more pushed towards the diabetes, that kind of a frequent eating and no body activities. So automatically, if the kapha predominant guy, if he's going to indulge in this kind of a the lifestyle and food habits, definitely he's more prone to get into the diabetes compared to the pitta and vata predominant guy.
Yes.
So that way, definitely yes.
Yes, yes. Okay, I understand.
And when it comes to a modern this thing, now with the genetic mapping, you can get to know who is more prone to diabetes and what is the percentage wise, the higher risk, lower risk, moderate risk. So according to the body prakriti type when I analyze, so that way kapha vata person is more prone to diabetes.
Yes, yes.
And we did this exercise. That is the reason I'm able to tell you also.
Okay.
In Hyderabad, one of the center, we did that trial. More kapha person, more predominantly they are prone to diabetes if their lifestyle is not proper.
Yes, yes. Okay. I'm curious. That's always very interesting to me, because then maybe you can prevent some things. But in general, maybe Dr. Manjula, you can answer that. In general, do you feel that Ayurveda is also effective for psychological issues, like emotional problems, psychological issues, maybe depression, or I mean, depression always has a role in diet, of course. So Ayurveda, I imagine, would play a role like that. But would you say like anxiety, because this is the disease of the current today? It's always anxiety and depression. Would you say that Ayurveda is effective with these things?
Yeah, it's effective because it's not only, as I was saying, and Dr. Satish was also mentioning, it is a complete science where food or nutrition is taken into consideration, the lifestyle is taken into consideration, the diet is, the herbs are taken into consideration, and your body type is taken into consideration. And how do you follow the diet and lifestyle according to or in sync with your body type?
Yeah.
So Ayurveda has a very good answer for all this thing. It is just you have to modify, and you should know what should be your diet and lifestyle, and support of some herbs and treatments. It really helps. Actually, in Ayurveda, there is a mention of chanting, like meditation, all those things. They are also actually the major component of Ayurveda, along with diet, herbs, and treatments. In some of the psychological issues, they clearly mention these are the chantings. Or when they mention the cause, they tell why it is caused. So that way it is very effective when you take everything into consideration and accordingly you plan and take it forward.
Yes, yes. And do you find that Vata, because it's an element of air and space, that mentally they are more prone to imbalances like that?
Not exactly. As I was saying, it is more to one has to understand what is his or her prakriti or body type, irrespective of whether I fall under Vata, Pitta or Pitta, Vata. If I know that I am falling under these categories, if I follow the diet and lifestyle as prescribed for these body types, then I am not prone to. Even a kapha person can end up, if he is not following the diet and lifestyle in accordance with his or her body type. So it all depends on whether you are following your diet and lifestyle in accordance with your body type, or you are deviated much. A slight deviation, body and mind can make adjustments. But a lot of deviation for a very long time, irrespective of what body type a person belongs, it can cause trouble.
Yeah, yeah. So let's take an example. For example, if you have somebody that came to you with anxiety, okay, and you want to apply to them a multi-tiered approach, and you want to do the diet and the massages, but they are limited because of the anxiety, let's say. For example, I know some people that have a hard time sleeping on the massage bed in a dark room and staying in one position for too long, or sitting in the steam box because of their anxiety. Is there a process like where you would say, okay, first we would take you through the chanting and the meditation, and then much later, or what would you say in this particular case, as an example? How would you approach that?
So it's clearly through talking, making a person comfortable and making him or her confident of what he or she is going through in terms of therapies or the herbal combinations or the processes like chanting or whatever. So it is in the beginning, it is much of talking. Ayurveda explains a lot about that. Then once that comfort level or confidence level is built up, then these issues will gradually subside. Like as you told, a dark room, or staying alone with a therapist for a very long time. So all this will slowly subside, because apart from the talking, there will be some herbal combination support also.
Yes, yes.
Then once that confidence is built, when he or she is comfortable, then slowly, gradually, we have to introduce him or her to other procedures. For example, sometimes the chanting may not be in question because he or she will not be comfortable with the idea of that. So if you ask what is first, it depends again based on person, based on the situation a person is facing, or and also based on his body type and how much deviation has happened.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense. What do you think, maybe Dr. Satish, you can shed more light on that. What do you think is the modern medicine's biggest issue, I would say, with Ayurveda, or like biggest hiccup with it? Like, what is it that modern medicine does not like today about Ayurveda? I know it's a weird question, but why not all modern doctors are happy with the Ayurvedic approach? Why do you think that is?
See, the most commonly what I hear from every angle, the every doctors are worried of like the medicine toxicity, about whether it's a renal toxicity or hepatotoxicity, that kind of issues that we keep hearing, and also the lack of education about Ayurveda, to the modern fraternity, how Ayurveda works. Many people they doesn't know how it can help. They doesn't know. So there are two aspects. When they don't have education about Ayurveda, definitely they have their own apprehension about using these medication and all those things. So that is the one area. So the second area about when it comes to the toxicity and all these things, actually, I would the herbal medication. There are two varieties of medicine in Ayurveda. One is the using pure herbs. So, and if it is only if it is the herbal medication is being used, really it is not hepatotoxic or renal toxic. And to be frank, with those things only, even with different varieties of hepatitis, liver cirrhosis, and renal failure cases, and renal initial stages of failure cases also, many people are treating. Okay. Now, when it second category of the medication or second variety of medication when it comes to metals and minerals. If the metals and minerals, if it is properly
What is the word you're using? Sorry, I didn't understand it. The
metals and
metals.
minerals.
Okay, yeah.
Metals. The
Metals,
metals and
yeah.
minerals. If it is properly purified and if it is proper preparations are there, actually it works like a nectar, and it is literally like gold standard medication. With a lesser dose, we can treat very chronic disorders in acute state as well as in the chronic state, and it is like a real the boon to the means the really it is like a nectar to the world if it is properly prepared. And there are I know many people across the India and I would say across the globe, like kind of a pancreatitis, then different varieties of liver cirrhosis, and few varieties of ILD. This kind of very non-curable diseases also successfully managed with those kind of metallic preparations in Ayurveda. Only thing it matters about way of preparation. If the way of preparation is not good, then even the food can also spoil the person's health. Forget about the medication. So definitely, if the the preparations are good, there is nothing to worry about it. So coming to the question back, so these are the two aspects why modern doctors they are worried. They keep telling toxicity, but actually it is not.
So you're saying that even though they are metals, the way they are purified is different from the regular metals that we are exposed to. Is there any specific metals that you use for, because you mentioned liver cirrhosis a few times. Is there a specific metal that is used for liver cirrhosis?
Yeah, yes. In my practice, when it comes to my own practice, I use metal as a gold, silver, copper, then including the arsenic disulfide, arsenic trisulfide. These things are we use it in cancer treatment and certain varieties of benign tumor treatment we use. And there are also lead is also been used in a few varieties of treatment. And muscular dystrophy, we have a very good success rate with lead as well as certain arsenic compound as well. So these are all metals are quite frequently used. So now ferrous oxide, ferrum disulfide, all these things are used. What nowadays means even modern medicine uses for the iron supplement. Even those things we say cartisa, that is ferrous sulfide. Those combinations also used. Even sulfur is being used.
Sulfur. And when you say properly purified, what is the purification process? Like, does it go through specific Ayurvedic standards for purification, or it's specific sources that they source it from?
No, the first thing is sourcing the metals from the appropriate the resources where we need to collect it. Then post that there is in Ayurveda how to purify those metals. There is an explanation. After the purification, that metals go into a incineration process. Incineration process is bhasmikarana, which turns into ash. So when metals being used, which is not, the metals are not remained in the metallic stage at all. Any metals in the original state, it is toxic. When the metal is being incinerated with the appropriate way, it doesn't even remain in the metallic state, and when you analyze it, you won't even find the metallic traces in that particular compound. So for example, if I want to turn the copper into the medicine form, if properly traditional method if I follow, which takes easily anything between 6 to 9 months to prepare it.
Oh, okay.
So it is a very long procedure, and also we have parameters to check whether that particular incinerated medicine is being qualified for the medicine or not. There is a parameters being set. We do that parameter. When it is those parameters being fulfilled, then only we are supposed to use it on the patient. Also nowadays also the modern parameters we are following, like heavy metal toxicity test we are sending. All those the medication, whatever we use, those things are passed out, and also XRD, XRF, these are the modern parameters we use to check the particle size and all those things.
So you mentioned liver cirrhosis and cancer, and these I mean, they are diseases that are maybe late stage or advanced. Is that where you would bring in the metals, or like, is there specific illnesses where the metals are more effective and others where the herbal medicines are more effective, or do you always combine?
Yeah, see, always I find combining both the things gives much faster result, and it means it works very in a better way. And there is nothing like, the only in the chronic diseases or only in the deadliest diseases where you use this metallic component. There is no hard and fast rule that. Even I use them in normal cold to end stage of life also. So even common cold and all those things. For example, we have the medicine prepared out of cast iron, which is called as Mandura in Ayurveda. So there is a particular way of preparation with that particular cast iron combination with another 18 herbs, which is one of the best medicine what we prepared for the allergic rhinitis. Allergic rhinitis is a quite common this thing. So what we call it as a herbo-mineral combinations. Herbo-mineral combination. So always herbo-mineral combinations work better in many disorders. So just to answer, there is no hard and fast rule. Only when it is in the very chronic stage or very life-threatening situation, it can be used in the common cold as well.
Yes, yes. I've never, maybe rarely have I, because when you hear of Ayurveda, you always hear of people maybe traveling to India to get healing for maybe back problems or knee problems or like musculoskeletal issues. Rarely do you hear people doing it for cancer. So what are the rates of maybe the number of people that come to you for cancer? Are you maybe in India the first go-to when people have cancer, or people still prefer to go to modern medicine first, and then when that has failed, they fall back on Ayurveda?
See, now to be frank, the bigger percentage, the people go to till modern medicine only. Then very few people come in the very, very initial stage only to choose Ayurveda. Let me say that percentage is only 1 or 2%. 1 or 2%. But the maximum percentage of people who comes along with the modern medicine, they want certain medication. There are people who look for post-chemo and post-radio. What are the other problem they had? Side effect of chemo or side effect of the radiotherapy, to nullify that they come. And also to prevent the cancer, the furthermore, what is under the remission. Again, the reoccurrence should not be there. They try to choose with the Ayurveda. That is the maximum percentage of people who look forward with the Ayurveda treatment. Yes, but the days are changing. Now, few people are started to only solely depend on Ayurveda. There are people who choose to be that way.
Yes, yes. Very interesting. Dr. Manjula, when somebody comes to you and says, I have a lot of thoughts and I can't stop my thoughts, you have a lot of interesting, let's say, methods, because I remember, when Ayurveda has an interesting method of accessing the brain, let's say. So you wouldn't think when you have thoughts or specific issues with your feelings and thoughts, you wouldn't think that you would have to inhale something or smoke it or enter it into the brain, or you wouldn't think that you would put like an external oil on it. So tell me, just explain to me maybe some of the treatments that go with that, or maybe I'm mistaken. Do you use specific external things to access internal issues in the head, like in the thoughts? You're muted again, Dr. Manj.
Yes, you are right. So one is therapies which are focused on part above the neck, like Shirodhara, where you pour the oil from a particular height in a particular way for particular period of time for particular number of days. The second thing is so this most of the times the herbs which goes into that oil is the one which acts. The active principle of the herb which is in that oil is the one which helps in thought processing or whatever we are talking
So
about.
it's the same oil for everybody to access their thoughts, or you go change the oil according to their body type?
Yeah, it depends on their body type,
Okay.
the situation, the deviation from the normal body type. So based on that, the oil contains those herbs which will help. So every time the oil will be different. I mean to say, for different people, the oil, the herbal combination in that particular oil will be different. The second thing is holding the oil over your head, which we call a shirovasti, where we put a cap on your head and we retain the oil there with certain temperature for particular period of time again.
That's on the top of the head.
Yeah, on the top of the head.
Okay, and that you use like a clay
It's
fixture?
like a hat. It's like a hat which has an opening here in the middle, so that you can hold the oil here. And the third therapy which we do is application of a kind, in simple words, you can call as like a head pack or hair pack, which we call shirolepa. So this is the herbal paste which we apply over the head.
Over the top of the head?
Over the top, over your
whole
head.
Okay.
The head remains open, filled with some oil in it. So we consider there are certain points in our skull or head where the active principle of the herb can be easily absorbed into the circulation or to the system. These are some of the focused therapies like Shirodhara, Shirolepa, Shirovasti are the focused therapies when we have emotional issues or thought disturbances or anxiety or depression. Another part of the body which we focus is on the feet, the sole of the feet. There are some kind of the massages which we call Pada Bhyanga.
To access the thoughts through the feet?
Yeah, because there are certain points in your feet which helps to relax or to have that, what you call, to make the process little easy in the way it has to be. Yeah, these are the certain therapies which helps to address all these issues.
So what about that sniffing thing where you light some herbs and you inhale them, or you take them in through the nose? Is that part of
Yes, there is one. Yeah, there is one therapy. Especially, it's not about exactly about the thought. It is some kind of real mood disorders. There are some when they are. I mean, the coordination with the real world is gone. Then it is a procedure. In simple terms, we can call it as nasyam. It's a particular kind of nasyam where you sniff a kind of herbal powder, which is strong, which makes you alert and awake and those kind of things. But the other therapies are taken into consideration, which I was explaining earlier, like Shirodhara, Shirovasti, Shirolepa, are more common than this procedure. The nasyam is used in other cleansing therapies also. It can be done with the liquids, it can be done with the oil, it can be done with the powder, and it has many indications. When you sniff something through your nose, like it can clear your sinuses, it can make you alert or awake based on the herb you are used in that, or the method which you are opting for to sniff.
Yes. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. I like how, like, you have an Ayurveda, like special entrances into the body where you have access, so the oil can come in clear.
So where we are taking, I mean, the advantage is there is a particular point in your head where the skull bones join and a little bit softer. If you have seen in the children,
Yeah.
it will be very soft area. Though as we grow up, it becomes harder. Still, there is that is the place where the absorption can still take place. So through all these therapies, we focus on that.
Yeah, yeah. So is there something a person can buy from an Ayurvedic center and apply by themselves to help their emotional state, to apply on the top of their head?
More than that, they can take the help of the various oils. Instead of putting just here, do a good self head massage with a good Ayurvedic oil.
Any Ayurvedic oil or something according to, should they consult somebody according
to their prakriti and their condition? It's always better to go in that way, because what happens if you are of a kapha prakriti, let us say, and then you apply the herb which can aggravate or which can imbalance kapha, you will end up having other problems.
Yes.
So it's always better to know your prakriti and the deviation and choose accordingly.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Very interesting, very interesting. Dr. Satish, last question. I know I've kept you both very long, but I'm very, very interested in this. These days, a buzzword now that everybody is using is castor oil packs. I know that they are, I don't know, I think they are used. I have used it once in one of my Ayurvedic treatments. What role do they play? Would you recommend them? Is there specific illnesses that you would use them for? Do you not use them anymore? Is there a particular quality of castor oil that you would look out for that people should ask about? Because now they are all over the internet and everybody is using castor oil packs. So I wanted to know the Ayurvedic view. Yeah.
No, if you don't mind, can you repeat the question? I didn't hear properly. There was a
no. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I didn't hear properly.
Okay. No, I was saying that people are now, what's in fashion is castor oil packs. And everybody on the internet is talking about them. And I've actually seen people say, oh, why all of a sudden castor oil packs? Why haven't we known about this before? But I think that it's a big part of Ayurvedic medicine from like 5,000 years. And I think people are now just coming to realize the benefits of that. So I wanted to know your view on it. Is there specific conditions that castor oil packs should be used for? And more specifically, is there a specific quality of castor oil that we should be looking out for that will make a difference in the treatment?
See, the answer, straight away to answer your question, the castor oil pack not meant for in every condition. So first of all, castor oil is not meant for, it cannot be used as a generalized packs for in every condition and in everybody. First thing. Then the quality of castor oil makes big difference. Then also whether that oil is being properly, just the castor oil, you bring it from the shop and you cannot use it for a treatment. It has to undergo certain procedure, because in our books it has been indicated, even when we prepare oil, there are certain sedimentary parts are there which may not be in a position to absorb in the system. So we need to make that particular oil into a medicated oil. So what we are using, whether sesame oil, castor oil, or ghee, or any other varieties of oil or fatty substances, what we are using, which is not directly we take it and we use it. It undergoes certain procedures for a certain number of days, and then it converted into a medicine. Those kind of oils, we would use it, what we call it as a medicated oil. So even as simple as castor oil also, there is an indication and contraindication which has been explained very well. So using castor oil, I'm not against it, but there should be a methodology to use it. One thing. Second thing, for example, if the joint is swollen, if the person is suffering from
they're using that a lot for swollen joints. Yes.
So the person is suffering from the inflammatory arthritis. without the appropriate preparation, using castor oil can be counterproductive. Then, oh, you will be used Ayurveda oil, then my pain got increased. That's what we hear. So there is the appropriate education is needed, and there is an indication, contraindication, anything and everything has to be studied. Then only it needs to be used.
So is all castor oil and Ayurvedic medicine, is it all herbalized? Is it all with herbs, or do you ever use the oil on its own, even if it's treated?
Yeah, single plain castor oil also we use it in a treatment, but it undergo a particular procedure. Then only we use it, because
like a refining process, you mean?
Yeah,
like the refining of the oil?
Yeah, the refining in the sense, not the nowadays what they refine the oil. We have different
Yes.
techniques and methodology to purify the oils as well.
Purify,
Because we need to remove the what in Ayurveda say amatva means undigestible particle which stays in the fatty substances, that we need to remove it. Then only we will use it. And also there is many times there will be a moisture content in the oil, many times. So
a moisture in the oil, you mean like a water in the oil?
Yeah, watery, yeah, yes. Many times it may stay back, so that we need to remove it before using it.
Okay, okay. And what side effects, let's say somebody just took a random castor oil and put it on their swollen joints as a pack, as a heated oil, castor oil pack. What would be the contraindications of that? Like the particles that are harmful would be absorbed?
Really, excuse me.
Sorry, say that again because you cut off.
I think there is some net issue. I'm not able to hear you fully.
Now, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, I'll repeat it. I was saying that what is the side effect of using a off-the-shelf castor oil for a swollen joint? Like what would the body absorb that would be more harmful than good? I think Dr. Satish has frozen. Dr. Manjula, you want to pick up on that? You're muted. You're still muted.
So,
okay.
So as Dr. Satish was mentioning, we have to see, for some cases, it may be okay to apply the hot castor oil. But sometimes if in the joint inflammation also, there will be different kinds of joint inflammation. If it is an arthritic joint, it may be of different kinds, like gout can cause joint inflammation. A degenerative osteoarthritis can cause joint inflammation. So we have to see what is the cause for it.
Yeah.
Then only we can choose whether the castor oil, which is straight from the shelf, which is made warm, or we have to restrict the oil. Sometimes what we have to do, we have to restrict the oil usage by itself for certain inflammation. We cannot apply oil at all. We have to go for the dry therapies. If the inflammation is because of if the causative factor requires the dry variety of therapies, then oil application may not be indicated. If the inflammation is little bit older and more of degenerative, then oil application like hot oil pack will be helpful.
Okay.
Yeah. So in the cases or in the situation where you have to go for dry therapies, if you go for hot oil application, your pain may increase, your inflammation become worse, your stiffness will be more. So these are some of the side effects you will see if it is not properly diagnosed, what kind of inflammation it is. How acute or how chronic the inflammation is.
Can you give me, just as a last answer, some examples of dry therapies? Because I always associate Ayurveda with like oils
Oil.
and wet. Yeah.
So dry therapies, for example, there are different combination of herbal powders, which contains like 1 or 2 ingredients I can tell you, which is more known to everyone. The combination will contain the ginger.
To take internally, you mean the powder?
No, to apply. So it is
apply
made
it in
into
the pouch.
the
pouch.
You can apply it,
yes.
or you can mix with certain liquids, sour liquids. You can apply as a paste, pack over your joints. So these are the dry therapies. There is a sour liquid which we call as dhanyamla, which is prepared in a particular way, which again comes as a dry therapy. They don't contain any oil, this thing in them.
Yes.
The powders are made into pouch. They are warmed and they are applied over the body, or they are mixed with some of the liquids and they are applied over the body part which is in trouble, or there are certain sour liquids, they are poured over your body. So these are the dry therapies, to name few.
Yes.
Once it reaches certain level, then we go for oil therapies as a next step. By that time, we call ama. We call, there is a word called as ama. When that stage is crossed with the dry therapies, then we shift to oil therapies. Then comes the oil massages, the oil pouches, say the packs, oil packs, all those things.
Yeah. I think there's so much that we don't understand yet about the human body. And I think the internet, although it's getting a lot of information out faster, I think there's a lot of things that are misunderstood and they're seen as magic remedies that might not always work. Dr. Manjula, Dr. Satish, thank you so much for this. I'm really excited about this because I have a lot of questions, but I think we will limit it to an hour today. And maybe pick this up again once the episode goes and people have more questions maybe in the comments, then we can see what angles we would like to go in. But I think for me, we could go for another 3 days talking about everything. But I think let's end it here. And I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much. And I just wanted to mention that you are both at the Shraya's retreat in Bangalore in India. If anyone wants to visit you in person, I will put the details in the description. I think they would love to meet you in person as well. So you're open for that. So we'll talk again in the near future, I hope. Take care.
Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you very much. Namaste. Thank you.